Architecture here in the Philippines is a very long journey. There's studying, working, compulsory by the way, reviewing, and then license. Pretty long commitment for just one career. Anyways, when I got my first job, I was very terrified. I had no real work experience. This was my first ever job and I was a fresh graduate. I had no idea what the industry was actually like, and I was scared of my peers or coworkers or my bosses. I was scared of them knowing that. But newsflash, they know. So that brings me to my first point. You don't know everything. When you're studying in school, your progress, your growth, they are all recorded and reported back to you in the form of grades. So when you are good at memorizing, when you're good at written work, the better your grades are. But the industry doesn't hand grades out. And as someone that is very grade oriented growing up, it was a very tough pill to swallow. Because the moment you start working, you just realize that competence isn't really measured the same way anymore. Like, picture this. You are at the top of the class, the best designer in your batch, and you can recite the building code for every word. Can anyone even do that? Just imagine, just pretend, okay? And then one day, your boss sends you to a construction site, and all of a sudden, nobody cares about your school record because you are now standing in front of workers who have been building projects longer than you've been studying, and you're supposed to lead them. But not to mention, they're older than you, they're more experienced than you are. So how exactly are you supposed to earn their trust? How are you gonna handle it when someone starts to challenge your decisions? Or let's change the situation this time. This time you are presenting to a client and you made a really good project. They love the design, they love the concept, and they love all of the thought that you've been putting into it. But they are not okay with the price. And let's say this client is a rich person. So how exactly are you going to negotiate with a person that literally negotiates for a living? Technical knowledge, that is only part of the job. There is so much more to learn and to master. You need the ability to learn from people who can teach you things that no textbook can. And yeah, the truth is, the people around you, they most likely know a lot more than you do. And that's not a bad thing. It's an opportunity because you can't pour water into a bottle with the cap still closed. You have to learn from the engineers, the architects, the construction workers, even the clients, the foremen, and everyone else around you, because you're a fresh graduate and nobody expects you to know everything. And what people do respect over time is someone who's willing to learn. Which brings me to my next point. Nothing is difficult. It's just new. I heard this phrase a little early on into my apprenticeship, and I was given a task I found rather difficult. And then that mentor of mine, he said, "You know, Angel, there isn't really anything that is difficult. It's just new." Here's an example where I could put that into perspective. On my first day of work, I was hired with 3 other coworkers, so there was 4 of us in total. Our first task, okay, it was supposed to be easy. Very basic, designed for beginners. But my 3 other coworkers, they were used to using that software because they were familiar with it through college. And when I was still studying, I've never used that software before. I used a different one. I remember being incredibly frustrated with myself. Because something that would take minutes to them, it would take me forever. They're moving on to the next task and I was still trying to figure out where half of the buttons were. When you're the slowest person in the room, you really do start to sort of question yourself. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe everyone else is just better than I am. And it's just the first day. I'm already falling behind. I am already underperforming. But fast forward to today, the same task that used to take me ages, easy, way quicker. And I even got to pass that technical knowledge or those skills to student interns and my juniors. And you know what really even changed? Nothing. It's exactly as what my mentor said. It just stopped being new, and that's it. It's the same with every other skill that I've had over time, even outside my career, and I'm sure the same for the rest of you. When I was learning guitar, I didn't know how to play everything from scratch. I had to do it step by step. I had to let my fingers bleed for a few days. If you fight through that mental battle of being the slowest person in the room, and after enough repetition, enough mistakes, and enough time, they just really stop being difficult. Sometimes you're struggling because you're a beginner, and beginners are supposed to struggle. That's how becoming good at something starts. Number 3, learn to be more intentional with your anger. This is from my experience. Getting angry, getting frustrated, blaming people, those are very, very normal human reactions, especially in high stress environments. And I myself, I have a very short fuse. I get pissed really, really easily. I remember this one time when I messed up and I went to my boss and I told him everything. I was like, hey, I'm sorry, I messed up on something. I was ready to get scolded. I was bracing myself for impact. I was like, okay, let me just take this. But instead he was like, this really shocked me. He was like, okay, what do we do next? He wasn't trying to figure out who to blame. Like he just wanted to know how we were going to fix it. So instead of spending the next few minutes getting scolded, I spent it trying to come up with the solution. And eventually I did. And I brought it back to him and it got approved and the issue got sorted out. Getting angry doesn't undo the mistake. It doesn't reverse what already happened. And if anything, anger usually just satisfies your own frustration in the moment. And that is a very short moment, but the person on the receiving end carries that with them long after, and it may change the way that they perceive you, and it may change your relationship for quite a time. If you look at it at a perspective of efficiency, at some point you have to stop asking whose fault was it, and you instead have to start asking, what do we do now? And that's not to say that mistakes don't matter. Like, you should absolutely take responsibility for them. Fix what you can, learn from it, try not to repeat that mistake, move on. That's it. And that lesson made me a lot more patient with other people too. Because I did realize that most of the patience I needed when I was new, that was given to me by someone else first. I guess that's actually 2 lessons. That's 1, don't dwell on mistakes for too long. And 2, learn to be more intentional with your anger. This brings me to number 4. Not everyone will support you, and that's okay. So I heard this during a client meeting once, and this particular client, I would walk into the room and learn so much from him. At one point during the conversation, he said, if you want everyone to like you, don't try to become successful. And my immediate reaction was like, ooh, that's kind of depressing. But the more that I thought about it, the more that I kind of understood what he was trying to say. And I don't think his point was that success automatically makes people dislike you. I think his point was that the moment you start putting yourself out there, people are going to have opinions. And some people will support you, some people won't. And that's just part of the deal. The longer I've been around, the more I've realized that you can't really expect 100% approval from everyone. No matter what you do, someone will think you got lucky. Someone will think you don't deserve it. Someone will find a reason to downplay your effort. And that's okay. The alternative is spending your entire life trying to be liked by everyone. And that is so exhausting. One thing he said that also stuck with me was, you're rarely threatened by someone who isn't threatening. Now, I don't think that's true all the time. I do think that there is some truth to the idea, though, that people don't usually spend much energy criticizing something that they don't care about. But I'm gonna keep note, there is another side to this too. Sometimes we're the jealous ones. Sometimes we're the ones comparing ourselves to somebody else's progress and wondering why they're ahead. I've definitely caught myself doing that before. I did that a lot during my teenage years. Yeah, typical teen drama. I think learning how to genuinely celebrate other people's wins, that is a very important skill. There's enough room for more than one person to do well, and I'm happy with the fact that that is a balance that I have now kind of landed on, although I didn't start that way. You shouldn't expect everyone to support you, but at the same time, you shouldn't assume that everyone is against you either, because there are people that will cheer you on. There are people who will celebrate your wins with you, and people who genuinely want to see you succeed. You gotta hold on to those people. And when someone else gets their moment, you gotta try to be one of those people too. So before this video ends, I do want to clarify that these are things that I've just picked up on over the years. Doesn't mean I'm an expert in any other scenario. The main reason I did make this channel in the first place is to record my work in progress, because I'm still learning, I'm still maturing, and you know, I'm still trying to figure out how my life is gonna go. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! I'm gonna have dinner. I am hungry. I am starving. Oh my god. Ugh.